Hidden in the limestone plains of South Australia lies one of the best freediving destinations in Australia. Today I'm going to be talking about the Kilsby Sinkhole and why it deserves a spot on your diving bucket list. Hello everybody, my name is Lou and I'm a certified freediver and scuba diver living in Melbourne. Today we're delving into Kilsby Sinkhole, which is considered by many as one of the best freediving destinations in Australia. And being there recently, I can tell you, I see it. I definitely see why. Now, I don't want to bore you, but I do want to start with a brief geology/history section for you to understand a little bit about the importance of Kilsby Sinkhole, as well as kind of like have an idea of what you can expect when you're there. So millions of years ago, this part of South Australia was essentially covered by the ocean. And over the following millions of years, all these little like seashells and skeletons started getting compressed into what today is essentially limestone. So essentially limestone is like a fossil bed that has been created over millions of years. Now, as kind of like the sea retreated and this bed kind of like came out, and then you had rain coming up, the rain and the water that came through the limestone bed started creating these crevices and holes, which have now created a series of caves and sinkholes that we see in the limestone coast. And Kilsby Sinkhole isn't the only sinkhole present in this area. This area is full of them. So you have Little Blue Lake, you have Piccaninny Ponds, you have Ewan's Ponds, and each of these places is actually quite unique because, for example, if you look at Ewan's Ponds and Piccaninny Ponds, these are actually called karst springs, which means they're essentially fed by groundwater that emerges at the surface and irrigates the vegetable surroundings that they have. One thing that's very interesting from these ponds is like they have little like brains, I think you would call them, and then like interconnected flows. So you have like this big kind of like bowl-like area, and then you have like a little river, and then another bowl-like area, and then another little river, and so on and so forth, which makes them quite interesting to see. And another big difference is that while water visibility is amazing in these places as well, it tends to fluctuate a bit more because of this water currents that changes due to seasonal events. So if it rains, it'll be a bit more murky. If it doesn't, it'll be a bit more clear. So essentially you can think of Ewan's Ponds and Piccaninny Ponds more like underwater gardens rather than caverns. Kilsby Sinkhole, on the other hand, is a collapsed limestone cave. So it's more like the cenotes that you see in Mexico, for example. So what this means is that you had this roof made of limestone and the roof caved in. And now you have this kind of like hole on the ground. But what this means is that Kilsby Sinkhole is actually a closed system. It does not have water coming in from anywhere. It does not have rivers that come into it from any other part, which means that it has minimal vegetation, but also that the water clarity is amazing. To give you a better idea, we're talking about visibility for up to 80 meters, making it one of the clearest water in the world. I don't know if you can even imagine that. And this acquires heightened importance when we consider that Kilsby Sinkhole has a depth of up to 65 meters. So yeah, it's beautiful, super crystal clear. You see this beautiful light shards coming in. It's an amazing experience. Now let's get into the practical aspects of it. First and foremost, how do you get there? So Kilsby Sinkhole is located about a 5-hour drive from Melbourne, coming from Victoria, and a 5-hour drive from Adelaide, coming from South Australia. So it's essentially smack down in the middle of both of these capital cities in Australia. It is on the South Australian side of the border, but it's very close to the Victorian border. And the closest town to it is Mount Gambier, which is a very nice, quaint, small town that has other very nice things to do. It has a beautiful art gallery, it has amazing breweries, highly recommend checking out their breweries, nice cafes, as well as I mentioned, plenty of volcanic craters, plenty of sinkholes, both with water and without. There's the Umferstone sinkhole where you can go feed possums and look at a beautiful garden that they have designed in it. So yeah, plenty to do. And in terms of where to stay, you will find many motels, many caravan parks, many good Airbnbs and bed and breakfast. You won't struggle for accommodation. Now, one important thing to consider when going to Kilsby is that for years it was actually closed to the public because it sits in private land. It's actually in a sheep farm. So it's only been in recent years that the owners have actually decided to take advantage of tourism and welcome visitors in. but that does mean that you have to book. You can't just like rock up and go and dive there. Now, in their website, which I have included in the description below, they do have a list of operators that go there, so make sure to have a look at the list of operators and sign up with one of them to go visit the sinkhole. And you can choose what activity you do there. You can go snorkeling, they have their own snorkeling experiences. You can go freediving, which is what I did, and it was beautiful. Or you can also go scuba diving. So what can you expect? Essentially, you'll get there, you'll be let in by the owners of the Kilsby Sinkhole. And if you're doing their own snorkeling experience, I believe they do have change rooms, but if you're coming with a freediving or a scuba operator, they have this garden area where you can change into your wetsuit. So if you're shy, bear this in mind. There's no official change rooms, but hey, just be free. Or like in more practical matters, just like maybe bring one of those towel ropes so that you can change comfortably out in the open. Then after that, you will go down a set of stairs and there's a little platform at the bottom of the sinkhole, and you'll essentially just jump right in. And if you're freediving, your freediving instructors or group will set up the buoys for you. If you're snorkeling, that doesn't apply. Same with scuba diving. And essentially the sinkhole is yours to enjoy. Now bear in mind though, the public part of Kilsby Sinkhole is actually the lake part of the sinkhole, which is open. So whether you're snorkeling, freediving, scuba diving, that's the part that you will be visiting, which goes down to about 22 meters, which is still quite good and makes for some excellent line diving. The kind of like 65-meter depth part of the sinkhole is actually in a cave part of the sinkhole. So that's only open to cave divers, cave scuba divers, and like not recreational. And then once you're there, what you can expect is essentially this beautiful, beautiful light shards coming in from the sunlight that just give this kind of like divine, otherworldly feeling. I remember looking down and just looking at this, the light shards playing around, and I just could just see the line stretching out to infinity, and this light shards around my fins, and it was quite hypnotizing. And then you just enjoy the place, just take it all in. They have a pet turtle, which is just swimming around, so you can say hi to the pet turtle. But yeah, just stunning, beautifully clear environment where you can just like forget about the rest of the world and enjoy. Other things to keep in mind, it's freaking cold. So prepare yourself mentally for this. Because the sinkhole has a very small opening, it gets very little sunlight throughout the day, which means the water doesn't really get heated all that much. We're talking about probably 14-degree water. So if you're going to go there, you definitely need at least a 5 mil open cell wetsuit or a 7 mil wetsuit. Usually you'd be looking to staying anywhere between an hour up to 3 hours for a session, which is actually good timing because, as I mentioned, the water is quite cold, so you probably wouldn't be able to stay there much longer. I was wearing a 5 mil open cell wetsuit and I was completely fine, and I was so dazzled by the beauty of it that I didn't feel cold at all. Also important, you can't, how if you're using an open cell, we usually use soapy water to go into the wetsuit. Because this water is so crystal clear, and fun fact, the owners actually distill gin with the water in the sinkhole, we don't want to be polluting this environment to keep it and conserve it for future generations, which is so amazing. But that essentially means don't use soapy water when going into your open cell wetsuit because that would pollute the water in the sinkhole. So instead, use some good sex lube. We always joke because we're looking at the garbage bins around Kilsby, the people who pick up that trash are probably like, what's going on in Mount Gambier? What's going on around Kilsby? All this sex lube everywhere. And I mean, to be honest, we are having a wild time, just probably not the kind of wild they're thinking of. After a session in Kilsby, make sure to check out one of their local restaurants, cafes, or breweries to support local economies. And maybe I think, if you're going there, probably stay for a couple of days. Many operators will actually have a 2-day package, especially if you're doing a course. You can get certified as a freediver there, which is amazing. Great value for money in that sense. Or you can check out some of the other locations around the area. We also went to Little Blue Lake, which is quite different. Little Blue Lake has this vegetable growth on the sides. that makes it quite eerie, but that one goes down to I think 47 meters. And there's a running joke because there's like a toilet seat at the bottom of it. Apparently that people would just like dump their garbage in this is very sad, but people would just dump their garbage into the sinkhole. So the bottom of it is full of, I think there's like a car and this toilet seat and a stop sign. So bear that in mind if you're freediving, because you might come across something that could hurt you. But great depth, 47 meters, and very, very different location. So make sure to check that out. As I mentioned, there's also Picanini Ponds and Ewens Ponds. Sadly, at the time that I'm recording this video, which is 2025, both of them were closed to the public because there's been some droughts in southern Australia and that have made the water quite murky. So they're trying, and the water levels are going down. So they're no longer diveable at this point. And they're trying to do some conservation efforts to bring them back to what they were. I went there back in 2019 and I was just gobsmacked again by the beauty of it and the water visibility. I do hope that light shines again on Picanini and Ewens and that people can visit them again in the future. But yeah, at the moment, no can do. If they do open again, they also have a booking system. So essentially they have limited availability, and I think it's like 4 divers per every time slot or something like that. So make sure to have a look. None of these places are just for you to rock up and go. Little Blue Lake is, but the other ones not so much. So have a look at the destinations you want to go and book in advance would be my suggestion. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to keep up to date on any upcoming content. If you have any comments or suggestions, let me know in the comments below. And make sure to watch out my other videos about both travel vlogs where I review other potential diving destinations, and also my other series on freediving, scuba diving, expert sessions, you name it. See you next time!